After the news, we've got some more friends to talk to, and Assad will join us talking about Pokemon. Keep listening.
On 6PR, this is Perth Overnight with Jon Lewis.
Good morning. Nice having your company for after 4 on a nice early Sunday morning. And I remember watching Pokemon, a cartoon on the telly, a lot of years ago, and thinking, well, this is all right, a lot of adventure, bit of fun. Did I ever think they'd make a movie? I never thought there'd be a Pokemon movie. And I was talking to my little nephew and my niece too, who's slowly moving out of Dora the Explorer and moving on to Pokemon. And they were both really excited by the idea of this Pokemon movie. So I thought, well, maybe it wouldn't hurt to find out a little bit more about Pokemon. We've actually got what I reckon must be a Pokemon ambassador. Assad joins us. Good morning, Assad.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Tell us about Pokemon. For those tuned in this morning, I said, well, what is Jon Lewis talking about? What is a Pokemon?
Absolutely. Well, Pokemon was created by Satoshi Tajiri in '96 with the creation of these video games which are designed for the Game Boy, I believe. And then they sort of made its way to Western Shores in '97 or around then. That's when it sort of exploded with the anime as well, and also the trading card game. And basically, the whole story is about these pocket monsters, which is where the word Pokemon comes from. And basically, what you do is a 10-year-old child essentially goes around catching these bugs or animal sort of things, which are very analogous to our live animals that we see every day, but just very different and magical, I suppose, in some way. And they sort of collect them with Pokeballs and battle against other players to reach this whole champion sort of area where you can beat gym leaders and hopefully get
That's right.
the rank.
I understand too. There's a battle of wits too, depending on how you use the cards or the creatures against one another.
Yeah, absolutely. It requires a lot of thinking as well, surprisingly, especially with the game and the trading card game too. The video games, obviously, you have to be quick in your tactics and everything, but the trading card game is also very mathematical. And even my little sister as well, I just saw her playing against one person at a recent pre-release that we went to, and her math sort of skills were just very quick thinking. So it definitely requires some quiet wit as well.
Now, to me, it seems like a far more advanced version of what I used to play when I was little, rock, paper, scissors. So one could beat the other, but then the other could be... So there's always be another way of beating, depending on how you would imagine the other one would use their tactics. Do you find that with your Pokemon, that if you play your tactics well, an inferior set of cards can still beat a superior one?
You can potentially, yeah. I mean, it all comes down to what your attacks are, your stats. Unfortunately, I'm not the most brilliant gamer, so I'm not very into that sort of stuff anyway. So I'm not really onto the whole specific stats of what the Pokemon must be in. But a lot of people do think about that, and even it's beyond me sometimes, even when people go on about this, and I'm like, okay, well... I didn't think about that.
What I love about it is how it makes how it makes people think. I didn't want to be ageist and say makes young people think, because anyone can be involved, but how it really makes them think. It's not just a matter of saying, oh, well, I'm just watching it now and I've got my eye-hand coordination. When you're using the cards, you're really thinking, and there's so many complex processes taking place. But what about the creation of the creatures? Would you call them creatures or monsters? Tell us about that design.
I don't know what to call them, to be honest. I'm so used to calling them Pokemon that they've become their own entity. I mean, I'd call them creatures, I suppose. They're just sort of these otherworldly type beings which have supposedly powers which they can use Thunderbolt and water attacks and all sorts of different, a massive range of them, really. But yeah, I'd probably call them creatures.
My favourite one would have to be the universally favourite one, Pikachu.
Pikachu, yeah, that's my sister's favourite. She's obsessed about it. If you watch my channel, we've got just her squealing every time she receives a little Pikachu card or toy or something like that. It's ridiculous. She's 10, so...
Oh, my goodness, isn't that beautiful? Now, if I want to seem like, when I'm talking to a Pokemon fan, and I don't want to seem like the average Pokemon fan and say, well, I like Pikachu, is there a Pokemon that we could mention, I could make a little note of and say, that's my new favourite?
Well,
to show that I
suppose
really know what I'm
say
talking
that my
about?
favourite is Gyarados, which is definitely not relation to my personality, I can assure you. It's sort of this fish that evolves into this massive, gigantic snake thing. I don't know how it evolves into that,
It
but
just
it's quite
does.
remarkable.
And that's called Gyarados.
Gyarados, yeah. It's spelled Gyarados. It's
Gyarados.
quite weird, but you might like that Pokemon. But, yeah. There's too many now. There's about over 600, so over 650. I remember just the days when there were just about 150, so there's a lot more.
And how do they come up with new ones? Do they look at what's going on in the world of technology, or do they just think, well, let's just create some more anyway?
I think they just sort of look at regular the regular just Pokemon. Sorry, not Pokemon. What am I talking about? Animals is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, they just look at general animals and probably just sort of create chimeras of some sort, or sort of bring human characteristics into them, or bring some weird characteristics, and to make them sort of unique. That's probably where they come up with all these ideas.
It's just amazing when you look at the designs and the colours. Now, we will be talking about the movie, the Pokemon movie that's coming along, because that's certainly going to be very accessible. But I understand there's a few other ways we can access them, and there's a radio program.
A radio program?
Sorry, an online program.
Oh yeah, we've got we don't play the movie ourselves, but I run a Pokemon channel called PokeCollection.
Yes.
It's youtube.com/PokeCollection, or peripherals are on Facebook.com/PokeCollection. And basically, it's a family-friendly site where we just sort of started in 2009. I think I was 21 or something at the time, and I'm not afraid to admit my age, by the way. Sort of got back into the nostalgia came back quite strongly, especially because I'm homesick at the time. Well, I'm still quite homesick because I come from Wales. But so I got back into it then, and trading cards and the games and the anime and everything. It sort of just blasted on, and it sort of got really popular with it. And the amount of followers that I have who are actually listening in right now, so shout out to them. It's gone exponentially large, and it's become very difficult to maintain the channel, but it's very well worth it because of the amount of emails, the fan mail, and the comments I get from ages, even families, which is fantastic. I mean, even some in Australia, I've got Christmas cards from over the Christmas period, and just knowing that they feel that they can sort of log into a YouTube channel and not worry about where their kids are, what they're watching. It's great. But generally what we're doing at the moment is sort of just promoting the latest Pokemon movie, which is heading to Hoyts cinemas across Australia and New Zealand.
That's right. And I understand by all accounts it's pretty special. Now, what can you tell us about the movie without spoiling it? Well, when I sit down with my popcorn and my nephew and niece, what are we in for?
I think you should, John. I think you should definitely go check it out. It's only one weekend. I think the one closest to you will be Carousel in Garden City, Western Australia.
Yes.
But it's also available at select Hoyts cinemas, so you can check that on our channel or even on hoyts.co.nz or com.au. But basically, this movie, it's the 14th movie. So there have been movies in the beginning. I mean, the first 3 movies were shown in cinema screens for an extended period of time, just like the regular films. After that, sort of saw a complete wipeout of that, and then after a decade, we're seeing it back in cinemas again. And even for a limited time, I think it's a significant thing because it's a big change in the market, and the amount of popularity Pokemon has actually grown again, which is surprising. But I think it's not so surprising in the sense that there's a lot of people who are probably going through the same stage I am, nostalgia. So basically, this film is split into 2. It's the first thing to do that. It's sort of split into 2 parallel type storytelling stories. One's called Pokemon the Movie Black, and one's called Pokemon the Movie White. The white version contains these Pokemon, in particular Victini and Zekrom, and black contains Victini and Reshiram. And basically this story surrounds Ash, who's this trainer who goes around this town to take part in this competition with the help of this unexpected mystery Pokemon called Victini. And Victini apparently is part of this sort of undiscovered kingdom and goes out to sort of surface that kingdom sort of thing. So And the stories differ slightly in the Pokemon that appear or that change the storyline of it. So it's quite a unique way of releasing the movies. But
sounds fascinating that they'll do it like that. Now, I do know the screening dates 18th and 19th.
That's right. Yeah, 18th and 19th.
Are you saying that those are the only dates that we can go along and see this?
That's right, and there's only one session on each day, I believe. I think it's 11 to 10 in the morning for both New Zealand and Australia. And you can only watch Pokemon the movie White, but the DVDs will be released March 7th in Australia and March 25th in New Zealand. So you still get to watch the other counterpart to it, I guess. They just wanted to show at least one rather than making people choose between two.
Look at that. So you probably want to book your tickets because you wouldn't want to miss out if that's what you want to do.
Absolutely. It's been crazy because as soon as I got an email just a few weeks ago, and I knew about the release of the DVDs because I'd sort of take on the responsibility of informing people down under because there was really a significant void of information for us down here. And now I've sort of become that sort of person to do that. But the response when I first announced it, a lot of people were very surprised and very happy to hear that, and they just wanted to know all about it. So
that would be right.
Yeah. So it's absolutely insane, and it's a lot of people as well who grew up with the franchise as it was growing, just like I was. I mean, it's just as big as Harry Potter, to be honest. If you think about it, it's one of the biggest franchises in the world. I'm not sure what the biggest one was, but
well, I got to tell you, many times when I'd finish work early in the morning and I'd head home and you turn on the TV, and often the only choice my intellectual passion was I turn on the TV would be the cartoons. And I don't know what it was about the Pokemon, but it was a little bit hard to turn off. You'd sit there and go, I'll keep watching just a bit more. I'll keep watching it.
It's really addictive. I remember when I was forced into watching it. Because I'm still not a person who just goes in to watch TV. I'm just one of those very unusual people who can't watch TV for long. And I was forced into watching it when I was about 8 years old. I got hooked straight away. Sort of disappeared as I grew up, but got back into it, obviously. It's a big, major part of my life. So,
well, that's interesting to me. Why did you get back into it? I can understand you enjoying it when you were 8, because surely I think Pokemon's aimed at a younger area.
Yeah.
But why now do you still find it fascinating, so much so that you put all this time and energy into the creation
I think my
Pokemon?
parents ask me the same question every day. It's honestly, I think it's a very good combination of nostalgia, but I have a very big, sort of soft spot for kids as well in general. I just like, because I have a younger sister as well, so I've grown up with her, and we've obviously suffered from other sort of personal circumstances as well. But this sort of thing is a very nice, and what's funny about this as well is the new series is called Black and White, and the Pokemon is very black and white in its nature, and sometimes it's actually quite nice to have that sort of innocent type of viewing. Regardless of how child it is, it's actually quite pleasant to watch because it's just black or white. There'll be bad and good, there's nothing in between sort of thing. And it sort of just highlights a lot of cliches and why, there are cliches out there as well, like believe in yourself and that sort of stuff. And they're actually very powerful, and I've learned from that as well, because from the success of the channel, which was not meant to happen really, it was just meant to be just a sort of random showcase of stuff while I was studying. And, boom, I've got almost 10,000 subscribers and millions of hits on there. I kind of realized that, obviously, if you back something up, it sort of goes quite far. But, I mean, with Pokemon, it's always been an enjoyable thing, and I brought it back into I introduced it to my little sister, and we sort of took off from there, really. So I guess it's a combination of nostalgia and just, I suppose, loving the franchise as a whole. It's very unique. A very unique thing that you grew up with.
Well, that certainly is true. Have you had a go, and I'm pretty sure the answer to this is going to be yes, have you had a go, Assad, at creating your own Pokemon?
Yes, I have.
I knew it.
It was when I was younger, though. It was
Don't
an
defend
evolution. It was an evolution of this one Pokemon called Voltorb, because it was the easiest thing I could draw. I'm the worst drawer on the planet, contrary to my other sister, but I can't draw at all, and so that was the easiest thing I could try to invent, and I called it Electrolyte.
Electrolyte.
And funny enough, I ended up studying neuroscience for university, so
like you do.
Quite fitting, really, isn't it?
Isn't that special? Have you put it forward to the creators?
I really wanted to. I remember how eager I was. I think it was the first year of high school back in Wales, and I was so eager to do it. And then that's when I sort of forgot about Pokemon as well. So that went down the road. I haven't tried creating any new Pokemon, though.
Well, I reckon now's the time. Put it forward. Why not? You never know.
I suppose if Pokemon Company International saw my channel, then maybe I could introduce a new Pokemon, I suppose. I don't know. I'm not the best person in terms of artwork, so all that will come out is probably a Stickman or something.
So I reckon, I've thought about this. I thought the next phase of Pokemon, they could start to introduce Pokemon from other countries. So you could have the Aussie Pokemon, some kind of kangaroo-based creature.
See, we've had some Pokemon in the past, but there was a lot of heat for them, especially when during its prime time, where a lot of it was considered racist or derogatory because of the very stereotypical type of Pokemon they've created. There's one in particular that I remember. It's called Jinx, and it sort of apparently, I think, represented Aboriginal people, and it was, I'm not sure if it was Aboriginal or I think Red Indians or something like that. I'm not sure, but there was big heat about that, and they had to change the color of the Pokemon from black to purple because there was a lot of heat about it. So, as much as that'd be awesome, I'm not sure how. I don't think the Pokemon Company would want to suffer that sort of court sort of thing again.
Well, there must be. I reckon there must be a way, but certainly we're looking forward to it all. So here's the thing: if you're really into your Pokemon, or if you'd like to discover more, there's the only viewing that we have here in Western Australia. Of course, it's all over the country.
That's right.
But here we can go along only on those two dates, the 18th or 19th of this month.
That's right. Carousel Garden City.
Yes, tickets are already on sale through Hoyts, so you can go along there to Carousel Garden City.
They're not very expensive either. Adults and children alone, they're only $10 as well.
Oh, so good. I love a bargain.
It's really worth going as well because it's one of those very limited times you get to see something like that, and kids actually quite enjoy it. It's quite inspirational in some cases as well. It's good for especially younger kids just to enjoy something like that on the big screen again. Yeah. It's something that doesn't have...
And it's positive too, isn't it? That's positive, the thing. Exactly. It's positive, so you get a lot of positive ideas out of it. Yeah. It's uplifting, and it's got to be a great way to get children to tidy up their room, isn't it?
If you threaten them with some sort of
well, you say,
Pokemon, maybe
tidy up your room, and I'll take you to see the Pokemon movie.
Probably would work.
And then they can talk about it to all their friends at school. Say, you'll never guess what I did. I saw the Pokemon movie, and they'll all be excited. You know what that kind of excitement's like. Yeah. You can't buy that kind of excitement. Well, maybe you can with this movie. Oh, I love it.
No, it's great. It's definitely a family-friendly thing as well. So I think even the parents might be captivated by it. I know my parents wouldn't. They're probably over it already.
Well, they'd probably say you could take yourself. They don't need to take you.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I'm taking my little sister anyway, so she's really excited as well, and my other sister too. So it should go down well. Good for you. Well, remember to turn your mobile phone off, and you'll have a beautiful time. Absolutely, will do. Well, great talking to you, Asad. So, do you want to give us that website for the online channel? Yeah, sure. Our channel is called PokeCollection. We've got youtube.com/PokeCollection and Facebook.com/PokeCollection. Also, wanted to say thank you to everybody who tuned in from all over the world, actually, because a lot of people do listen, watch our channel and everything. And thanks to them for the support and everything they've given us over the last few years. I'd like to say thank you too, and I'd also like to thank those people tuned in, and also those who are the followers of my favourite Pokemon, Gyarados. Yeah. Your new favourite Pokemon. Awesome. If you go check that up on Google, you'll know what I mean. It's quite, and if you find the pre-evolution, you'd be surprised at how stark the evolution is. It's quite weird. But, I'm into it. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. I think I'll have a nice time with my family. Fantastic. You have a good morning. Thanks for your time. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Asad joining us here from New Zealand, joining us this morning live on the programme, 23 after 4, to tell us about the new Pokemon movie. I reckon it'll be a lot of fun. Some of the movies are fun while you're there. I do like movies, regardless of where you see them intellectually. I do like movies that aim to do positive things, aim to uplift people, take them from a particular point in their life and raise them up a little bit higher, the courage that you can be more than you are. And I think this one does it. It's very nice to see. Pokemon, you might be a fan,
Or you might like to talk about some movies that you've seen that lifted you, that made you feel good about yourself. I'd love to hear your comments. Ring through on 922 11882.